It's time with JMU Hall of Famer Delvin Joyce.
Joyce breaks a tackle and goes in for a touchdown. Another spectacular run by Delvin Joyce.
Alongside one of the best signal callers in JMU history.
Bad Lee, he's got plenty of room across the 50 to the 40. He should make it all the way to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, James Madison University.
Together, the duo bring their unique perspective to the podcast, breaking down all the things they're seeing about JMU football. This is To the House. Now, here's Delvin Joyce with Bad Lee.
What's up, JMU Nation? Welcome to another episode of To the House. I am your host, Delvin Joyce, the People's Choice. I am joined by future JMU Football Hall of Famer, Vad Lee, clamored in purple. What's going on, Vad?
What up, JMU Dukes? I like our theme, right? You're on the left side of my screen. You got JMU and I got Dukes on right now. It is a great time to be a JMU Duke.
I can't think of a better time to be a JMU Duke. In fact, I almost wore a Duke University shirt today. I mean, that would have been okay as well. But man, it would have been phenomenal. And by the way, congratulations to this JMU football program, Sun Belt Conference champions. We had so many guys recognized as all Sun Belt performers. I think we swept all of the awards essentially in the Sun Belt in terms of Player of the Year and Alonzo Barnett III, Defensive Player of the Year, Trent Hendrick, Freshman of the Year, Sahir West, the Elite Award with our guy Tyler Brown for academic and on-field performance, and just a phenomenal week for JMU. But that's only the tip of the iceberg, right? Because the real news this week is what? I mean, JMU and the CFP, bro.
Yeah. I mean, bro, we're going to the college football playoffs. I'm talking about the James Madison Dukes. We were just not too long ago playing for the FCS, typically getting into the FCS playoffs, playing for the Natty in Frisco, Texas every year. You know what I mean? Trying to figure out when we're going to play against North Dakota State. Now we're up here talking about we're playing against the Alabamas, the Oregons of the world, right? Come on, bro. This is crazy.
It's crazy, man. I mean, honestly,
is there sound? Is there, my bad,
is there what?
Sorry to cut you off, but is there video evidence of the Delvin Joyce at the beginning of this season sharing that JMU football will play in the college football playoffs?
Hey, man. So yes, there is absolutely video evidence of me making the prediction because I knew what this team would be capable of with everybody coming back, with the coaching staff coming back, continuity at the quarterback position, potentially. I knew that it could lead to a college football playoff appearance. I said it, maybe after a couple of, let's say adult beverages after playing golf all day.
You was hanging out with the boys. You was hanging out with the boys.
I was hanging with the boys. I didn't want to post it, but, I wanted to post it because I wanted everybody to see that I made that prediction and I believed in this team all year. And, man, I'm just telling you, I cannot think of just a better time to be a JMU football fan with all the commentary and the analysis and the conversation surrounding this program. And I got to tell you that, and I hope you feel the same way as a player, the way that I feel as a player who wore that uniform, to now see this team in the position that we are in as a program. I mean, it is unbelievable, man. Like, I don't think I've ever been happier either as an athlete or a fan as I am right now to see this program in the college football playoff.
Yeah, man. I think, I agree with those statements and I feel the same way. This team has done it the right way, right? We have had to go through some coaching changes, some big time transitions. I'm big on the word transitions there. There's a lot of things had to fight through. And I think what makes this special for me too is one, I got a chance to go and talk to the team earlier in the summer, going into this season. And that was just cool because you feel like not only am I alum, but you are a part of, like, you got to shake hands, you got to break bread with these guys that's on this current team, right? And
Right.
and then also, I think too, I love the fact that Alonzo Barnett is from North Carolina. I'm from North Carolina, and I'm a former quarterback at JMU, so it's like a special type of quarterback bond, right? Him being from Greensboro, running the show. I've also got an opportunity to run the show as well, and so it's unique. And I remember early on in the year, everybody kind of like going back and forth, like, hey, just choose a quarterback, or we should choose this quarterback, and all of this. But to see his consistency, and to see them be able to win games in different types of fashions, right? Not necessarily throwing 300 yards every game. Maybe it comes through the run game. Maybe it does come through the pass game. Maybe it just comes through stout defense. I think that those things make it really cool.
Yeah, and one of the things that we've talked about on this podcast, and I've heard other podcasts sort of mention this, like, I think there's two factions of JMU football fans. There's the Sun Belt Conference, and winning the conference every year should be the goal. And then there's the faction of fans that say, well, no, getting to the college football playoff every year should be the goal. And, I've always been the college football playoff guy. And the reason, I explained this on a podcast episode a few episodes ago, like, for me, getting to the college football playoff is now the national championship aspirational level for this team, right? I think it's unrealistic to believe that we're ever going to win a national championship in the near term at this level, but getting to the college football playoff will feel like a national championship because, to get that G5 spot, you've got to beat out like 65 other schools, right? There's 65 other, however the number shakes out, but G5 programs competing for this one spot. Now, this year is unique, of course, but to get it signifies that, again, I just think it feels like a national championship. And I'm so excited that they won the Sun Belt Conference, but I also believe that this is the pinnacle for what JMU should aspire to each and every year.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, I feel like you were college football playoff driven. Myself, I'm like, it's not that I was doubting the talent. I think this is a good segment to talk about bowl games, right? Because I have experience playing in bowl games at Georgia Tech. I played in 3 straight bowl games for 3 years. Went to the ACC championship game, played in that as well. And what I do know about bowl games is that it makes everyone feel like a champion at the end of the year. Like, if you win your bowl game, you go out feeling like, wow, I just won a championship. And you kind of don't even think about the national championship. That's cool and all, but it's like for example, when I was at Georgia Tech, we beat Lane Kiffin in USC, the year he got fired. And that was like that was the game that kind of got him out of there. He lost to Georgia Tech, right? And, I threw a touchdown pass actually to our running back coach, David Sims, that game. And anyway, we won the Sun Bowl championship in El Paso, Texas. So we had the stage, we had the confetti, we had all of that. And it kind of felt like, man, this is like our national championship almost. And so for me, I say that to say, I didn't necessarily have my sight on the college football playoffs for this team and this program at this point, right, of JMU 5 years in. It was more like, hey, let's win the conference and get to a nice bowl game so that we can really enjoy a full week of festivities and go out as a champion. But hey, I'll take college football playoffs as well. Salute to you for for saying that in August, way back in August. That gives some validity to our podcast and what we know.
And by the way, I mean, listen, I have no delusions that we're going to be here every year, but I think we should aspire to this as a program. And, to your point, man, bowl games have kind of, from when you were playing and what bowl games meant, pre-NIL, pre-transfer portal, all this money that these players are making, bowl games kind of have taken on a different light, I think, and I don't know that they have the same punch. I mean, you see teams opting out of bowl games and, it just doesn't feel the same.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think it will once the teams actually get there. I think on the outside of trying to get there, should we go or should we not? Guys are transferring right in the middle of it. When you get to a bowl game, people need to understand it's like a full week of vacation. Of course you're
Yeah.
there to you got practice and you got things, but man, that was like the best moments where I really got to know my teammates. I really got to hang out with them because you get a certain amount of money. Even back then, we got like, you got like $500 to go to the mall
Nice
and
per
buy
diem.
you
Yeah.
got per diem, right? And you got they had the check off points where you got to pick out what you want. I got a PlayStation, I got a sound system. I got so much free things. And it was kind of like,
Yeah.
man, this I didn't know that this was a perk of playing college football at the time. And so now, like you said, guys are getting paid. So, getting an Xbox, man, I can buy 100 Xboxes. I don't, why do I need to go to a bowl game to get a free gift? And so
Right.
it does
Yeah.
takes away, and I think that is unfortunate. I think that is unfortunate for college football, and I think it's unfortunate for the guys not really being able to experience that, because those are the experiences that I take away from my Georgia Tech experience. And even when I went to Frisco, Texas to cheer on the Dukes the year after I graduated, that was like a bowl game type of feel. It was really fun. So
Yeah. Well, and you make a great point, man. So again, to the teams that are opting out, first off, I don't think it's fair to the players. I don't think it's fair, especially to the seniors who may next week be selling insurance somewhere, at not really going to the next level. And I just think that if you look at JMU's success this year, you can point to a lot of it coming from the experience and the bonding experience that the team had in Boca Raton, Florida last year at the Boca Bowl, right? Because if you want to tell me that didn't have a lot to do with pretty much the entire roster deciding to come back and play for this team this season, I mean, again, if you point to the success for this season, I think it starts at the Boca Raton Bowl and the confetti and all that and the pomp and circumstance and the bonding that the team did. What I think is really, really interesting is that, there's a Louisville team who our only loss of the season, guess what? They beat 2 college football playoff teams this year. And guess what bowl they're playing in?
where
Did you
they
see
I
that?
didn't even see. I didn't even see where they playing.
They're playing the Boca Raton Bowl.
That
How
is
crazy
hilarious.
is that?
I mean, you cannot write this. You can't write this script any better for JMU. This is legit a movie, right?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
A movie, bro. And Louisville, man, shout out to them, man. They beat us. They beat Miami this year. I don't know if there's another team that beat 2 college football playoff teams in one season and, it's not really in the playoff, right? So really, really cool. I think, the big thing that I want to talk about, though, as we transition is just sort of the national media and the fan reactions. And first off, I got to say, man, the first fan that I wish I could get a perspective on is my pops, man. This is the 10th year anniversary of my dad's death. And my dad was like the biggest JMU football fan. And for anybody who's lost a parent, like I think most people who have lost a parent can understand what I'm about to say, but you miss your dad, you miss your mom, you miss them every single day, you miss them every month, but you may not necessarily think about them intentionally every single day. And, as I'm watching JMU's name get called in the selection show, like literally the first thing that I wanted to do, man, was pick up the phone and call my dad and just talk about what this meant. Cause I know that this would mean so much to him. But obviously there's so much chatter around what this means for the playoff, what it means for James Madison, what it means for the future of the college football playoff going forward. So Vad, like there's so much media attention right now on this playoff and the way this bracket shook out. I guess for you watching that selection show on Sunday, what was your first reaction?
My first reaction was wow. Like, I think it started back though the night before watching Duke. I it was more watching Duke that kind of of course, is not confirmed until the Sunday, the selection show. However, when you're watching Duke as a JMU fan, right? You're watching Duke as, like, first of all, the national attention on the two gentlemen that were at the game who were former players at JMU at the Duke game. I'm talking about in Charlotte. They kept showing them, and they had like
Yeah.
JMU gear on, and they kept putting the camera towards them, and they kept talking about JMU, and it was almost a sense of, hey, Duke, let's go. Like, a team is counting on you. And so,
Yeah.
it's a cool time to be from Durham, North Carolina, where Duke is, right? To be a JMU alum and to know it kind of came down to Duke beating Virginia, which even that is crazy, right? A Virginia school having to lose for a Virginia school to get into the playoffs. And so,
Man.
yeah, man, my first reaction was just like, wow, this is big, and I'm not even sure how to fully process it. I was really excited when Duke won, and then after the game, my wife was like, "Was it like I thought you'd be jumping for joy?" And how you feeling? I'm like, man, I don't. This is like, it's so much. Of course, I had to watch the game
Yeah.
to get ready for this podcast and stuff like that. So I'm like, I got to rewatch the game. I got to do everything. But yeah, bro, it was just a lot of wow, this is happening.
Yeah, it was like, wow, this is happening. And by the way, I was one of those people that, even though I was excited that Duke won, I did not fully trust that the committee would do the right thing
Sure.
and put us in. Like, I honestly, especially after Manny Diaz, and by the way, good on him, man. Like, he coached that team up, won that game. He's supposed to say in his post-game press conference that, hey, we're a playoff team, we should be in. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
I did not take that as shade toward JMU at all. But what I will say, man, is, some of the reaction has been both positive and negative. I would say overall it is a positive, thing from a fan and media perspective that both Tulane and JMU are in. I think the large majority of people in this country especially root for the underdog, man. People like the Cinderella story. But I think that there are so many talking heads and so many people with vested interests outside of the normal wanting to see a good product on the field, who have negative things to say about two group of five teams being in, specifically about JMU being in the conversation. And you know what, man? I got to say, I can't think of a more un-American ideology than to say that, that JMU does not belong. I mean, are these the same people that were rooting for Great Britain in the American Revolution? Like, who are these people that would root against a JMU making it into the playoff? And I think the big thing that I would say here, I think there are a lot of people conflating the idea that this playoff is about the 12 best teams in the country. It was never about the 12 best teams in the country. You know why, Vad? Because there's 136 FBS football programs in the country, and they don't all play each other, and the divisions don't all play each other, and the conferences don't all play each other. So you can't say who the 12 best teams are. I can take your opinion for who the 12 best teams are, but that's not how it works. To me, I think this college football playoff should be based on the 12 best seasons, right? And when you look at who had the 12 best seasons in this college football season this year, you cannot make a case that James Madison University did not have one of the 12 best seasons in the country. And that's why they're in the playoff. So again, otherwise we just got to take Danny Cannell. We got to take his opinion on who should be in this playoff. That's not what it's about, my guy. Right? So anyway, that gets me fired up to hear these guys talk like that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And it's been, a lot of people that has had a lot of negative things to say has mostly been people who have not, let's be fair. A lot of, probably majority of the world has not seen a James Madison football game like play. Now, we've been on ESPN a few times this year. They have, but in terms of like the national spotlight, like a Oregon and, like Alabama, all those, they're on TV every week. It almost kind of like reminds me of like the HBCU conversation, right? Growing up, I didn't know a lot about the HBCUs simply because they weren't always on TV. And I think a lot of people who, have a hard time seeing James Madison in it. And it's not even JMU. I think they are having a hard time seeing JMU and Tulane. All right. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, we good with one. We good, back in the day, Liberty play. All right, we're good with one, but two? Come on now. And so
well, they're gonna blow up the whole they're gonna blow up the whole system. And I think it all comes down to the fact that the blue blood Notre Dame did not get into this playoff. And here's the thing that I gotta remind people. It is the 5 highest ranked conference champions. So even if UVA had won that game against Duke, the committee was also still going to have to make the same decision because UVA was outside of the top 12. So the committee would have had to make a choice between Miami, Alabama, and Notre Dame. And I do believe that Duke winning that game and excluding the ACC champion from the bracket, I do think that was the deciding factor that put Miami in over Notre Dame, because I think if UVA, it wins that, the committee says, oh, the ACC's represented. It's Notre Dame and Alabama. I think who they should be upset at, I don't believe that Alabama should be in this tournament. And I know you are SEC stan, right? The SEC got 5 teams into this tournament. Do you believe that Alabama, a 3-loss Alabama, which I said, I think on the first episode of To the House this season, they were going to make a case for a 3-loss Alabama to get into this tournament, right? I said that. But do you believe that Alabama belongs in this playoff?
No, I think that it was more deserving. Now, I don't always think you should be penalized for going to the conference championship game.
But they penalized BYU for that.
They did, and they did. And so I personally felt like BYU should have been in over like an Alabama because they lost to the same team. They lost to Texas Tech, right? And so I personally thought that BYU versus Alabama. But no, I agree with you. I didn't feel like Alabama should have been in. But hey, this is Bama world. This is Bama town. This is this is SEC.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that I would say that even BYU should be in. Right?
Really?
I mean, listen, bro, like you got beat by a playoff team twice. And I think the overall score in those 2 games, right? I mean, it wasn't close. You got beat like 63-14 between those 2 scores. You got blown out twice. I mean, what are we doing? Right? Like, give somebody else a shot.
I see.
Right?
I see, but like a team like Vandy, it was just, everybody made their case. Everybody could make their case. At the end of the day, the JMU Dukes is going to play Oregon. And man, I'm certainly excited about the opportunity to go to Eugene, Oregon, to go shout the world.
And Vad, I just think, man, again, I think they really wanted to get Alabama into this playoff. And, it's crazy that it came at the expense of Notre Dame, but I think that shows the power of the SEC. The SEC gets 5 teams in. Notre Dame's not a part of a conference, so they don't get in, right? And it's as simple as that. Yeah. And I really do hate that Notre Dame now has opted out of their bowl and just basically said, we're taking our ball and going home.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you, I guess the question is, are you frowning upon Notre Dame for making that decision?
I am. Yeah, I'm frowning upon Notre Dame for making that decision because Notre Dame has always said, we'll pack up and go anywhere and play anybody. Well, you don't want to play BYU and potentially get exposed. You don't want to go play Vanderbilt and potentially get exposed. Those would be the bowl matchups that they would have. And what a remarkable statement to go make and say, hey, we belonged in this playoff field. Watch us go put it on the Big 12 runner-up, or watch us go put it on this SEC team. But no, we're going to stay at home. We're going to take our ball home and just, sit this one out. I don't respect that at all as a competitor. Do you?
I just love firing you up. It's just like up on the block. He gonna take the bait every time. I mean, he's just fired up. with this new day and age, I mean, let's call it what it is. It's a protest to college football playoff system. That's what it is. Notre Dame is protesting. They believe they're supposed to be in there. They have a good case, just like Vanderbilt, just like BYU, everybody else. Everybody has their case, and the fact of the matter is, there's only 12 teams that can get in it right now. And I think about the seniors. Some of the guys that last time playing, this is their last. Like their season just kind of ended, and they don't play for a conference championship. So I'm wondering, like, do they get a ring? Do they get it celebrated in terms of like kind of like that champion? If they went to a bowl game, they probably, they, like you said, they get that opportunity to kind of have that last experience. So I'm not like for it. I understand why they did it.
Yeah,
I understand.
I don't understand. And for, a program like Notre Dame that's had all the success, all the opportunities, all the benefits of the doubt over the years, for them to just walk away and just be like, all right, you know what? It didn't go our way, so we're not going to participate. I mean, I want you to think about the message that sends to not only those players, but to everybody, right? Because think about the little guy like us. We've also been excluded for years, right? It hasn't gone our way. And if you were a G5 program, how many times have you felt like you deserved to be there and you were told, nah, not this year? But we still, if we got that bowl invitation, we're going to show up and go compete. And I just feel like for Notre Dame, I think that's a bad look. I think they took all what I think is goodwill from most people who feel like they should be in and balled it up and threw it in the toilet, because now they've turned themselves into a villain, at least on my account. Right. And I know you're probably going to go speak for Notre Dame one day, so you can't say what I'm saying. This is Delvin Joyce on To the House. This is only my opinion. This is not Vat Lee's opinion, because I want Marcus Freeman to still give you that call to go in and speak to that team. But
hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate the alley-oop. Hey, come get your boy. No, man, I'm with you, bro. And it's like, it's one of those things where, I mean, it literally is. And that's the only point that I can say that it is. It's a protest. Like, it's like, hey, we played in the championship last year, and like we should have been there. Our body of work, our program history, all of that, that's good for college football. But they're like, man, we ain't going to play in this bowl game. We're supposed to be playing for the bowl game, the national championship. And so we won't get to see that. And with the recruiting schedule and everything, it kind of favors the coaching staff maybe having a few more days off, maybe a few more days on the road in terms of recruiting, things of that nature. It's just a messy college football schedule. Everything is just very messy. I mean, you think about the Dukes last week, and with the whole, Coach Chesney, then you get a coach that's introduced, and still got to play for a conference championship. It's just the whole
it's messy.
Schedule is messy.
The whole thing is kind of messy, man. I'm so excited we get to go play Oregon, and I'm also excited that we got a special guest on the pod. I didn't say this at the outset. We got a special guest on the pod, one of my former New York Giants teammates, coming on to talk about the Oregon Ducks because he played there. But before we go there, man, I feel like this is sort of, this whole G5 P4 thing, right? We've been beefing with the American for the last several weeks. North Texas and South Florida and Tulane and Navy. Well, Navy fans are non-existent, but in terms of the chatter, not non-existent, but non-existent.
My best friend played in Navy. We was just talking right before this call.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I'm not saying they were not, because they have great fans. I'm saying they weren't necessarily as egregious as the South Florida and the other American fans. But we've been going at it for 4 or 5 weeks, and it kind of, to me, feels like a primary election, right? Because everybody's backing their candidate in the primary. But now we're at the general election, right? And now we know who our actual opponent is, and the opponent for the G5 programs is the P4. And the perception that's out there that G5 does not belong in this playoff. So I really hope all JMU fans are rooting for Tulane against Ole Miss. I mean, and I want them to go as far as possible. And I really also hope that Tulane and all those North Texas fans and all those South Florida fans are rooting for JMU at Oregon, because it's time for the G5 to unite for the primary election, or the general election, against the P4.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. It's gonna be funny. It was gonna be fun. Like Eugene, Oregon. I mean, just Oregon Ducks, their historic program, a program that has been in the conversation for national title for, I mean, 20 since I was a kid, like watching Oregon Ducks, playing in the championship game. A lot of great players, Chip Kelly coaching, like the coaching, the player, the level of success that they've had that has been sustainable is elite. And
It's
for
elite.
us to be able to go there, because we also have had a level of success as well. All right. It's just been on maybe a smaller level, a smaller scale. However, that don't take away from the program, our program. You got two elite programs playing against each other, right? If you're coming from Oregon, you're gonna look at that and say, what? JMU elite? Get out of here, right? No, literally, if you look at the body of work that these teams have been able to accomplish, college game day, atmosphere, just different
Yeah.
things, man. At one point, too, I will say, when I was at JMU in 14 and 15, we kind of, I mean, it wasn't like big brother, little brother, but we kind of saw ourselves as like, of course, it was the FCS level at the time. But we saw ourselves, we had the uniforms, we had the swag, right? We had all the things going. And we were very talented and we were very fast. So we saw Oregon kind of like, hey man, we're the East Coast. We're the East Coast side of things where we had the different uniform combinations that we could do. And so and also too, if you go, my quarterback coach at JMU is at Oregon now. And so yeah, man, I keep up with
Who's
Oregon,
that?
and I'm excited for JMU to do some things. His name is Drew Maringer, and actually I went to go speak to JMU this year, and I gave them one of the biggest lessons of my life is KYP. Well, that actually came from Drew Maringer, who's now at Oregon.
That's amazing. That's awesome, man. So, Vat, I think that is a great segue to our special guest, good friend of mine, Wesly Mallard. Let's bring Wesley in.
For more than 20 years, SignPro has been proudly serving the Valley, helping local businesses stand out and get noticed. Whether it's vehicle wraps that turn heads on the road, dimensional signs that elevate your storefront, or long-lasting banners with yard signs, we bring quality and experience to every project. With a reputation built on craftsmanship and trust, we're here to make your message impossible to miss. Visit mysignpros.net and let's showcase your business with confidence. That's mysignpros.net. Love JMU Sports News? Help us keep bringing you the best coverage we possibly can. Support the show and fuel our work at buymeacoffee.com/JMU Sports News. Every cup keeps us rolling all season long. Buymeacoffee.com/JMU Sports News. Big win, huge play. Don't just remember it, wear the moment. Breaking Team makes shirts that capture the game's biggest highlights right as they happen. Gear up today using the link in the description. College football's back, and it's time to upgrade your game day gear. Right now, claim 15% off at Home Field. The best retro and vintage apparel in the game. Rep JMU in style. Don't wait. Check the link in description to get your 15% off.
All right, so JMU Nation, as you know, the Dukes are going out to Eugene, Oregon to face, a very historied and storied program in the Oregon Ducks. And I got my good friend, one of my former New York Giants teammates, who is a great friend of mine, who actually played for the Oregon Ducks, on the show to the house to talk about what we can all expect out in Eugene, Oregon. So what's going on? Wesly Mallard, what's happening?
What's up, Delvin? How are you? I'm
Doing-
good.
Doing well,
good.
man. Well, listen, man.
I'm excited we get to play the Dukes.
Well, I'm excited too, man, because I got to be honest, man. You and I have known each other for a long time, over 20, almost 20 years, right? Over 20
For
years.
sure. Over 20 years.
And I got to be honest, I never would have thought that you and I would have an opportunity to have this type of conversation and playing against each other, our respective programs, in the college football playoff. So I guess the first question that I would have for you, obviously you guys, have a lot to be proud of out in Oregon, right? What would you say the fan perspective is? I'm sure you got some group chats with some former players and some Oregon Duck fans. What's the fan perspective right now, for this team having to play, James Madison at out in Autzen, what is it, Autzen Stadium?
Yeah, Autzen Stadium. Come on, get it right. I think the fan perspective for just getting to play in the playoff, I think fans are excited. Um, like we've had a great season. We lost to Indiana. We've played some close games against some other Big Ten opponents. And so, the fans are excited. We're just ready to get this thing started. And, this is the first time, we're ever getting to play a home playoff game, in the college football playoffs since this is the new format.
Yeah, and I know you guys would probably rather play, BYU or, So, how do you think the fans feel about having to play James Madison, this up-and-coming upstart of a program?
I think fans don't know much about JMU, just like I didn't know much about JMU till I met you. And so, I think they're going to do some studying, and people are going to probably watch some highlights and see that you guys are a good team. So I think it's going to be a good game.
Very well said. Very well said. That I don't want to monopolize my guy, Wes. What do you got for him?
Yeah, Wes, take us through your career. I think it'd be cool to hear just kind of about your career at Oregon and bowl games. What you guys, I don't know much, so just take us through your career.
So my career at Oregon started. I was a walk-on since I was a preferred walk-on. I came in Oregon as a wide receiver. Didn't like catching the ball. Didn't like getting hit. So I moved to the defensive side of the ball. Got a scholarship after my first year. So, I want to say as a Duck, we played in the bowl game all 5 years that I was there. I redshirted my first year. So, and we progressively got better each year, played in a better bowl game each year. With the culmination being my senior, we played in the Fiesta Bowl against Colorado. Finished the season ranked number 2 in the nation. Behind that 2001 Miami team, so which was a great team. I wish we would have got the chance to play them. They had 20 first rounders. Just crazy stats. But I wish we would have got the chance to play them.
And that's
so
back.
Sorry,
that's back when they just said, we think this team is better than that team. They're the national champions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's like we had the BCS committee, right? That was the start of the BCS. So
yeah, crazy.
So are you in favor of the college football playoff system as it is right now?
I like it. I like how it's progressing. Each year it's getting better. I think they need to change it again. With conference champions, they having to play an extra game and they're putting a little bias into that. So I think maybe you expand it one more, maybe 16 teams, kind of do it where you have teams that play in to the playoffs instead of having a conference champion.
So if you were choosing, do you think they got it right based on only being able to play 12 teams being in, or James Madison being number 12, or a lot of
you guys deserve it. You guys played in, you won your conference, you're the highest ranked of the G5, right, or the P5.
Yeah.
So I think they got it right. The whole debate between Miami and Notre Dame, that's something else to be said.
What would you say? Who belongs there? Alabama, Miami, Notre Dame.
I would say Miami. They head-to-head, right?
Yeah,
they won the head-to-head.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah. What about Alabama? Alabama in over 3-loss Alabama?
Yeah, the 3-loss, the loss was in the conference championship, right? So,
but they got blown out and they had negative rushing yards.
True.
Come on,
Delvin
guys.
is not for Bama.
I'm not for Bama being in, bro. I think it's trash. Blown out and negative rushing yards.
Yeah. No.
So Wesley had a great career, man. He spent time obviously in New York, 3 years with the Giants, couple of years with the Patriots, played for the Seahawks. amazing linebacker. Ironically, that never actually tackled me in practice. It's amazing. The guy never actually got his hands on me in practice. But Wes, I think one thing
that's lucky for you.
But Wes, I think one thing that our fans want to know, like what can we expect flying into Eugene, Oregon, from a travel perspective? And I know there's a lot of people kind of trying to figure out, do I fly into Portland? Do I fly into Eugene? Do I stay in Portland? Do I stay in Eugene? What would be your opinion there?
So, I mean, I think it's a lot easier to fly into Portland, bigger airport. It's an hour 45 drive south. I mean, Eugene is it's a college town, but there is a lot. I mean, it's bigger than what people think. There's a lot of hotels, a lot of good restaurants. I think you could do either, just like I was telling you earlier. Like, if you fly into Portland, drive down, stay in Eugene, you'll get the full experience. You'll get to just the campus is beautiful. You'll get to see all the facilities. Like, Oregon's facilities it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. I heard there's some guy who started some sneaker company that gives a bunch of money there, but are there any must-dos while we are in Eugene? And, when I say must-do, I'm a foodie, right? You probably can't tell because of these abs, but is there like a restaurant, bars, like, is there somewhere that we have to go visit?
There's a lot of good restaurants. There's a good steakhouse there that just opened up. There's at the Gordon Hotel, there's all kind of good food around there. So, like, I mean, you will love it. But, like, if you're a real foodie, you would stay in Portland and eat food in Portland.
Gotcha. Okay. So what's the best spot in Portland? Where should they go? Because you and I where did we go last time I was out there with you?
We were at the what hotel was that? It was like the Farmer and the Beast or something. It was like Urban Farmer.
Urban Farmer. Yeah, that was really good, man. I loved it.
Yeah.
But is there like an elite place in Portland that you'd recommend our fans hit up?
There's so many good places there. I just went to a dinner probably a month or two ago with Joey Harrington, who's another great Oregon quarterback, for his birthday. It was called Zhao Ye. It is like a Chinese. They serve pasta. It's crazy. It was like this. It's ridiculous. I don't even know how you explain it. But Asian fusion, like homemade, like pastas, like all kind of just like stuff you wouldn't even think. Like, this is not Chinese food. Like, but like, it was different. It was good.
Love it. Last question I have, man. What, from a game day experience, right, perspective, obviously, Autzen Stadium's like big game college football atmosphere. What would you say our fans can expect about, the welcome that they're going to receive from Oregon fans, right? Are you guys hospitable to visiting fans? What's the tailgating experience like? And what's the overall in-game stadium experience like?
So the tailgating experience, like, me not playing and never getting to experience and doing it now for, years and years, it's a great tailgating experience. For opposing fans, nothing but love. There's a lot of respect there. People will welcome you into their tailgates, give you drinks, give you food. And as far as like the in-game experience, I feel like there's no louder stadium in the country. It will get rocking.
Because it only holds 54,000, right? But you guys
exactly. It's packed. Yeah, it's packed. And then like the whole shout thing, like you're gonna see some crazy stuff.
Awesome, man. Vad, any parting shots from my guy Wes Mallard before we go, or any questions from Vad Jr.?
No questions. I know that Eugene, the Oregon Ducks may not know a lot about James Madison, but we have one of the best traditions when we score points, field goals, touchdowns. So get prepared for the streamers. We throw streamers in the air, so I don't know how the Oregon fans are going to take that, but I just want you guys to be prepared for that.
Okay. Hopefully we don't see too many streamers. You guys are gonna hear the train horn a lot. It's okay. I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Nice.
Well, Wesley, last thing before I let you go, man. So, Vad, you may not know this. Wesley and I were contestants together on Celebrity Family Feud with our good friend Jesse Palmer. And, he and I think probably of the team of 5 people, I think we probably gave the worst answers in the entire group.
Franks and beans.
No, it was Beanie Weenies, my guy.
Beanie Weenies, that's right. Beanie Weenies.
Don't let me tell them one of your answers that they didn't even air on the show. They cut it out of the show, Vad. It was so bad.
It's okay.
Man, Wesley, really appreciate you coming on to the House podcast, man.
Thanks, man.
Best of luck to the Oregon Ducks. We not on December 20th, but if you guys happen to slip by us, we hope you guys go far and win it all. Because what better way for us to say we lost to the national championship if we do in fact lose that game?
Right.
All right, brother. All right, love you, man. Take care, man. All right, see you, Wes.
For more than 20 years, SignPro has been proudly serving the Valley, helping local businesses stand out and get noticed. Whether it's vehicle wraps that turn heads on the road, dimensional signs that elevate your storefront, or long-lasting banners with yard signs, we bring quality and experience to every project. With a reputation built on craftsmanship and trust, we're here to make your message impossible to miss. Visit mysignpros.net and let's showcase your business with confidence. That's mysignpros.net. Love JMU Sports News? Help us keep bringing you the best coverage we possibly can. Support the show and fuel our work at buymeacoffee.com/JMU Sports News. Every cup keeps us rolling all season long. Buymeacoffee.com/JMU Sports News. Big win, huge play. Don't just remember it, wear the moment. Breaking Team makes shirts that capture the game's biggest highlights right as they happen. Gear up today using the link in the description. College football's back, and it's time to upgrade your game day gear. Right now, claim 15% off at Home Field. The best retro and vintage apparel in the game. Rep JMU in style. Don't wait. Check the link in description to get your 15% off.
All right, Vad. So I'm so glad we got a chance to get Wesley onto the house, man. He's such a cool, down to earth, super nice guy. I think he embodies the persona of everyone I've ever met from the Pacific Northwest. Right? You know a lot of people from out that way?
Not at all.
There's a saying, right? I've seen this, like there's like a map of the US and it talks about whether people are nice or act nice. And it shows the Northeast, right? Northeast quadrant of the US. It says acts mean is nice. Then it shows the Southeast corridor of the United States. And it says acts nice is mean. It shows the Southwest portion of the US and it says acts mean is mean. And then it shows that Northwest portion of the US and it says acts nice is nice. So, it doesn't surprise me that he says that we're going to be welcomed with open arms out in Eugene, Oregon. But that real quick for you, without getting into the X's and O's, because we're going to do that next week. How do you feel about this matchup against the Oregon Ducks?
Yeah, man. This is a very talented team. This is a talented team, and I'll be honest. I love the tenacity of their head football coach. I think one of the things that we should do next week for fun, especially because I'm this speaker, I go around speaking. I have not got a chance to go to Oregon yet, but I'm almost like trying to guess what Dan Lanning is gonna say to his team pregame before they run out to play JMU. Like I might come up with it for him, because he come up with some dope stuff. I'll be honest. He come up with some really good stuff. So I'm kind of guessing, like, what is he going to talk about the streamers? Is he going to talk about, they talk about throwing up their dupes. They ain't seen these Oregon, like, what is he going to say? He's
very clever.
He be coming with some punches that makes me want to put my shoulder pads and helmet back on and just like, bro, I want to play for you. And so I
Yeah.
think though, from a team standpoint, that's the culture, right?
Yeah.
That's like they are coming for your neck. And so in terms of, without getting too much into it, we will have to play our best game and we will have to hit it on all cylinders in the run pass game, and our defense, of course, will have to continue to dominate. Yeah, man. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to get too much into it, but I do think this is a fast, fierce Oregon football team that has tremendous leadership. Now, let me say this before I throw it over to you. Now, with that being said, from the leadership standpoint, they have, I believe, lost their offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. Now, I'm not sure if it's confirmed if they're going to continue to coach. Most likely they will. I don't know, but that the psychological component of that. But same way with us, right? We are
I was going to
losing.
say,
Yeah, yeah.
touche.
So yeah, man.
Yeah, I think, again, I'm excited about the matchup, bro. To see JMU get to play in that stadium, that's going to be incredible. I also am really excited because this is a really, really talented team. This is going to be a tough matchup for us. And it's going to be a great measuring stick for us moving forward to kind of understand where this program actually is. I think there are a couple of things that actually give us a slight advantage. We talk about that David and Goliath story. You probably know this, Vad. I'm a big fan of Malcolm Gladwell, the author, and he wrote a book called David and Goliath. And he talked about how David was the underdog, but if you actually look at it objectively, David had all the advantages over Goliath. And I think there's some of that in this matchup for us. I mean, Oregon's a very young team. They have a lot of underclassmen on that team. We are more of a veteran team. And that experience in some of these big games is going to play well for us. I think the other thing, again, without getting too far into it, Oregon will not have played a football game in 3 weeks by the time we have this matchup, right? And so we will have had a 2-week layoff, enough time to get some players healthy, but they may come out with a little bit of rust, and all it's going to take is for them to come out a little rusty, maybe turn the ball over a time or two, keep us in the game and give us hope. And you know how that story somewhat ends. The other thing that I would say for all those people out there saying that this is going to be a blowout and they're going to mop the floor with us, the first thing I'll say is, Alabama just got blown out. So don't say that that's not why we belong, because we might get blown out. BYU just got blown out by Texas Tech. If you look at last year's games in the playoff, Tennessee got blown out. So don't give me the JMU might get blown out so they shouldn't play, right? But I don't think that we will get blown out. I think that we are going to be a very competitive team. And I do, and call me crazy, but I love making predictions, Vad. I think we got a chance to win this football game. And I think we got a chance because our players believe that they have a chance to win this football game. Our
Absolutely.
players understand, because I've been behind the curtain. I've seen the Wizard of Oz. I've been at that level. I played against kids from Oregon. I told you, Wesly Mallard never touched me in practice, bro. I give him the little shimmy and I'm out the gate, right? So I've seen it. And I think our players understand that those Oregon Ducks, they put their pants on one leg at a time just like they do. I don't think they see themselves as underdogs. And everybody says the G5 doesn't belong until they need a head coach. And then they come to the G5 and take our coaches. And then everybody says the G5 doesn't belong until they need a quarterback. And then they come to the G5 and steal our best quarterbacks, right? Or they steal all of our best players. And if you look at how we have, a whole roster of Indiana players that went to the Big Ten, and then all of a sudden they're all Big Ten. All of a sudden, Elijah Surratt's catching the touchdown pass to win the game against Ohio State, but he's a G5 player, right? Aiden Fisher's all Big Ten. Cam Ross goes to UVA, and he's the leading receiver in the UVA Duke game last week, right? And so Darian Mensah, who came from Tulane, right, G5 quarterback, is the starting quarterback at Duke who won that game for them. So I'm saying this to our JMU fans, because maybe there are people out there that didn't play competitive sports. I want you to understand that for these players, it doesn't matter what we believe. It doesn't matter what Skip Bayless believes or Danny Cannell or any of those people. What matters is what those kids believe in the locker room. And talent-wise, we got a bunch of all Big Ten players who have the potential to be all Big Ten players on this JMU football roster right now.
Yeah, I mean, and this is, this may not be like what we want to hear, but this is an audition for these players to show that they belong on this level.
Yeah, and by the way, and when you say audition, that doesn't necessarily mean transfer portal. This also means NFL. There are players on this team that have NFL aspirations, and for Jacob Thomas, he has no more eligibility. But Jacob Thomas can go out and say, watch me work against these Oregon Ducks in the Big Ten. I'm going to show you I belong in the league.
Absolutely. And somebody like Jacob Thomas, my senior year, going to play SMU, that was an opportunity to show I was in the ACC as a starting quarterback, right? But it was an opportunity for me to show again and remind people that even though I'm playing FCS now and at James Madison, I'm not an FCS quarterback. Don't put me there, right? It's like, no, I belong there, and ended up, having a record that has never been done before in that game, right? And so I could tell you my mindset going into that game was, this is my last opportunity to show people that I belong. And so for somebody like Jacob Thomas or anybody else on the roster, really everybody, to show like, hey, this is my one opportunity, because you don't know what tomorrow's gonna host, but this is my one opportunity to show you that I belong on this level. And so therefore you will get the best effort and maximize effort out of everybody on the team. And at JMU, that just goes, I'm not just talking about myself, but that's a culture at JMU that we kind of carry within ourselves, that we belong, right? It's not, oh, we're going to play Oregon. No. And like, Oregon is playing the Dukes. Like, we belong.
That's it. That's exactly right. And when I think about what this CFP appearance will mean for this program, I think it is, from a recruiting perspective and even a retention perspective of our current roster, you got to say JMU is a premier destination, right? And if you want to call us G5 or whatever, I can't think of a better place for you to go as a player in the G5 than a place like JMU, who's had the level of success we've had over 4 years, right? Think about it. Ranked 3 out of the 4 years, ranked in the CFP in our 4th year, and actually in the playoff. And so when you also think about the retention of our current players, and, I love these guys, right? Yamir Knight, Cam Ross, Eric O'Neill, all those guys were on this roster last year, and they all left to go to P4 programs. But guess what? They're going to be on the couch watching the team that they left play in the college football playoff. And I think from a retention standpoint, we're about to have some retention conversations with some really good players on this roster. You don't have to go to Penn State to get an opportunity to play in the college football playoff. You don't have to go to UCLA with Bob Chesney to get an opportunity to play in the college football playoff. You can stay right here at JMU and get an opportunity to win Sun Belt championship year in and year out go to the CFP.
Yeah, it's more likely at a JMU than it is maybe somewhere else where you're thinking about. Like, literally is actually more likely. Like, I know, they might try to change up the college football playoffs, whatever, but
100%.
We're going to, Sun Belt is ours to have, right? And just JMU's to have, and therefore that puts you in the conversation to get to that stage. Of course, we're going to continue to play, the Virginia Techs, and which, hey man, they're coming with that punch with their new coaching and staff, and I'm just saying, I just wanted whatever, but that looks good. Us taking care of business there, right? We lost to a Louisville team that made it, whatever, but is more likely at JMU for your dreams to come true. Hey, pause it there, man. That rhymes. Let's go. Sign me up.
Well, the one thing that I didn't say that I do think is also an advantage for us potentially going into this game is that, our head coach, right, Bob Chesney, is actually going to UCLA. He's going to be coaching in the Big Ten next season. And this is, by all accounts, going to be his Big Ten debut, right? I mean, he's coaching against this is an audition. He's auditioning for these LA fans. He's got to get buy-in from that fan base. And this game is going to go a long way. So I do think he's going to coach his butt off and put the game plan of his life together to try to make a great impression on these UCLA fans. I'm telling you, that's going to work to our advantage, because he does not want to go take this JMU program out to Oregon and get boat raced and have the UCLA fans talk about this in message boards and social media until their season starts next year. They'll start to doubt him and the hire.
Yeah, and right now, there's no question. Not just him, but they're looking at the players that he's bringing. That they like, hey, we want that guy, we want that guy, we want that guy. And so, like if you don't take care of business, and it's kind of a big margin here, you start to feel like, is they're a small school, and then he's going to bring those players, and are they really going to have success? But I will say, Indiana and what Kurt Segnetti is doing, I mean, it kind of like puts all of that to bed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. But to your point, this will be a phenomenal game plan. And to your point, bro, like our offense I love the creativity of our offense and the different things that we have been doing.
I don't. As I'm watching that Troy game, man, I'm telling you, I was like, I'm not going to miss this offense. That's the one thing I'm not going to miss.
Okay, compared to the whole.
Man, I'm just being honest, man. I mean, how about this? I'm gonna miss this offense when everything's clicking and we got an offensive rhythm. It's great, but man, the peaks and valleys of this offense. When this offense is in a valley, man, I swear, bro, it is hard to watch. It was hard to watch in that Troy game.
And it's interesting because I guess there was a few key moments that I really saw like what the offense was trying to do. And I would have to go back to watch like every play and like dissect it. But like there was a few times where we took advantage of what they were showing. Like we took advantage just by lineup, they were sending 7 and 8. We had max protection. That's what Alonzo threw the touchdown pass on, and with Wesley, another Moss moment for him. But that was like designed correctly based on what the defense was doing, and we put ourselves in position to give Alonzo more time to be able to throw it across the middle. So anyway, we won't get into all of that because I know that's kind of like backtracking. But to your point, I think we have more room and a lot more room to grow offensively, and it's going to be exciting to see a new coach come into this place and light it up with the streamers.
Yeah, I agree, man, because I think the turd in the punch bowl for this entire Sun Belt championship run, college football playoff run is the fact that our head coach has quit on the program. And again, I don't say he's quit on the team. He hasn't quit on the team. He quit on the program, by accepting another job. And I can't imagine being one of these players in that locker room knowing that. I just don't know how that plays out. And I know I'm old fashioned and I'm old school, and I love Chesney, man. I love this coaching staff. I've met a lot of these guys. I think I have a good relationship with all of them. But I do, again, for me, it's a hard thing for me to come around to the idea that your coach in the middle of a college football playoff run or at the end of a college football playoff run is like, all right, you know what? This ain't good enough for me. I'm out of here. And again, I know it's a business. Yeah. I know we all have to accept it. It's part of it. I'm just telling you, for me as a former player, I don't love it.
Yeah, and I'm old school as well, man, and I agree with you. I will say I do appreciate you can kind of tell without being in inside conversations, you could kind of tell that there were some conversations that was made like, hey, we wanted this announcement to go out after the Sun Belt Championship because UCLA didn't post anything until last Saturday, right? JMU really didn't post anything till Saturday. And so the focus was trying to get to the Sun Belt Championship, take advantage of that. And then I think it would have been more appropriate for that to come out after the Sun Belt Championship going into a bowl game. Cause it's kind of like that concludes your season. And then whatever happens postseason, like that's a bonus, right? But I could tell like Coach Chesney and, even our administration, they kind of wanted to wait until that. But yeah, man, I agree with you. I'm old school as
Yeah.
well in terms of psychologically, but we're in a new day and age, right? So these guys could be saying like,
Yeah.
"Oh snap! Like, hey, I'm about to get to the bag. I'm about to, be
Maybe.
best friends, buddy, buddy, with my coach because now, I got another option. And man,
Here,
people like options.
I mean, listen, I will say this. I mean, I'm gonna wish him well, right? Like I really do hope he goes to UCLA and does a really good job, because every time he does well on the broadcast in the UCLA game, you know what they're gonna say? They're gonna bring up James Madison, right? I mean, you think about an Indiana football broadcast right now. Every time they say James Madison 8 times during an Indiana football game. But I do wish him well. If he takes, 15, 20 of our players out to UCLA with him, though, I will have a hard time wishing him well in that scenario, because I just think that's fundamentally wrong. And I've been consistent. In that opinion. That's not going to change. I didn't mind that Cignetti left. I minded that he raided the team in the process. If Chesney raids the team, I'm not going to be rooting for UCLA, and I'm not going to be rooting for him to have success there, because I just think that's fundamentally wrong. So call me old school, man.
Now let's come from a player perspective, right? And you are a starting running back under Coach Chesney and the offense, and you basically Wayne Night like that. You guys are about the same height, and you've been balling and everything. This system, or quarterback. I know this is my system. I call the shots. Like
100%.
I got unlimited access. How do you?
I've been consistent in this. All right. So roll the tape. You take the best 4 or 5 players. I get that, right? You have relationships with players. Take the best 4 or 5. Don't take 15, because that's raiding the team, right? And that's what Cignetti did. Cignetti took dudes off the JMU roster like Solomon Van Horst, who didn't even, get a chance to play at Indiana. That guy would have contributed at JMU last year. Right? So don't take everybody. Take the best 4 or 5. I get it. Wayne Knight, go make a bag. Man, I get it. Right? Alonzo, your sister's running track at USC. You want to be out there in LA? Go to UCLA, bro.
No, bro. Stay. We need
I think it's in their best interest to stay, but I also understand the dynamics, right? But do not raid the team. But we, as you said, we do have another coach coming in Sunbelt Billy Napier, or Billy Madison, as they are calling him now at JMU. How do you feel about that hire?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I think, this guy has had a lot of success in the Sunbelt Conference at that. I don't have his record up, but dude did a great job. And then at Florida, that's a big time job, and that comes with a lot of expectations, a lot of pressures. It was funny because on Thanksgiving, I actually for the first time turned on the SEC show or the SEC series on Netflix, and like he was featured on the first, I think, or the second episode, and really getting to see like how he work and his process, and just
what'd you think? Because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, and I wasn't studying because the news wasn't out. I didn't know we were going that right, but so I wasn't like really studying him or anything. But I thought he was a very personable guy. He always looks intense, but he's one of those. It was talking about how the Florida fans was, they were disappointed, and he just kind of had this straight up look like, hey, this comes with the job. I don't take offense to it. It just comes with it. And so he seems like a man that has his emotions in check, doesn't get too high and doesn't get too low. And I think for JMU, that's the type of coach that we need in the building. I also think he gives us kind of like this we are a big deal already, but he gives us this big name recognition coming from the Florida Gators, right? And so it kind of just shows the elevation of the program. We've used to getting a Bob Chesney D3, D2, D1 type of coach, FCS, or an assistant coach, right? The first time head coach. We're used to going that route, but this was a route that was like, I mean, I even tweeted out, okay, Matt,
Yeah.
our AD. I'm like, okay, I see you and I hear you loud and clear. I see
Yeah.
we are now at a level where we are having conversations with big dogs, and so I think that's pretty cool for JMU.
I love that you brought up AD Matt Roan, though, because I do believe that, in this new era of college football, you can make a case that the coach and having consistency at that head coaching spot is paramount to a team's or a program's success. But honestly, I think the most important person in that room is the athletic director. And even going back, bro, you think about, the impact that Jeff Bourne, the previous AD, had on the success of this program by making these hiring decisions, right? Say what you want about Everett Withers, but Everett Withers turned the program around from a mentality standpoint. Then he had another home run hire with Mike Houston, another home run hire, of course, with Curt Cignetti. And remember, Jeff Bourne, his last hire was Bob Chesney. He hit a freaking home run, hit it out of the park. And I do believe for AD Matt Roan, this being his first hire, I think he's hit a home run with this guy, Billy Napier.
I agree.
Like you said, the guy's already had success at the Sun Belt level. He understands the conference really, really well. I think the other thing is he's an exceptional recruiter. He killed it in recruiting in Florida. And by the way, I mean, for what it's worth, nobody's really won at Florida since 2008, right? I mean, let's be honest.
For sure.
So the fact that he got fired, right? I mean, nobody's won there. They fired 4 coaches in the last 15 years at Florida.
That doesn't bother me at all. I'll be honest with you. It didn't bother me at all. Some people are saying, like, let's see if this is gonna work out, or hope this works out, and all of that language. I don't even look at that language as a working out. This is who we hired. This is a home run hire for us. And also it gives us. You brought up a great point about a great word, stability. I think a Billy Napier gives us more stability than bringing up this FCS coach or this hungry coach that now gets to JMU, has success, and he's gone because it's like
because he broke.
It worked out for right, exactly.
He broke.
He's broke. That's hilarious.
He broke. I mean, he broke.
That's hilarious.
But Billy Napier. That
was not my point. That was not one of my points, but it should be like the number one point.
That is the point, because everybody says, well, you got to take the money. Everybody says you got to take the money, right? And Billy Napier made SEC money for the last 4 years. Billy Napier ain't broke. So Billy Napier is not going to be in a hurry to get out of here.
Exactly.
But he's hungry for other reasons, right? He's hungry to prove that I can have success, right?
He's already
had a different hunger. Right.
He's already had success. And so it's like, this program is already successful. This is equivalent to, I'm going to say it, is equivalent to being the coach at Florida. I mean, this is like, it might not come with all the money yet. Let me say that. The finances yet, but he has an opportunity to build with it. Like, I'm not hungry. I got big contracts, right? I got money. I'm not going to just take the first thing that comes, right? And so this gives JMU more of stability. Like, this gives us, I can truly see him being here for 5+. I can truly see him building us to this. I mean, we're already in college football, so I can't say he's building us into national championship contender, but this gives us an opportunity for stability, long-term stability at JMU. And like you said, recruiting is the name of the game. He is a great recruiter, and he's hungry for success. And last point, I don't think that many people, like the big, the Floridas of the world, are going to necessarily be coming for him. You know what I mean? Like in the next 2 years, because, they seen how they're thinking about Florida. Oh, it didn't work out at Florida, right? And so they're not going to be coming for him.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, man. And the cool thing about him too, from what I've heard, his players love him. I've heard he's not the most charismatic guy, but we don't need charisma. Curt Cignetti, wasn't the most charismatic guy either, but the guy was a winner. And I think when you look at Napier, he's probably in the personality department, probably more Cignetti than he is Bob Chesney. What I love about Napier, though, is he does come from that Nick Saban coaching tree that Cignetti also came from. dude knows ball, right? I do think he's probably got to bring in an OC that can call plays, and because that was kind of the rub down at Florida. But I think there's a lot of things that this guy brings to the table that's going to really help us to maintain the trajectory that we're on. If you look at these two coaches, though, Napier's probably got the tougher job, right? Because, you know, you go out to UCLA, you taking whatever their record was, you go win 7 games, you're a hero. Napier is going to have some expectations coming off a college football playoff appearance, right? And so, you know, he's got a tough job. He's going to have to work.
Florida prepared him for this moment.
Yes.
Florida, being in that seat, prepared him for this moment. As you all know, I talk about purpose over position, right? There's a greater purpose behind even positions where it seemed like there's a failure or it seemed like it didn't go well. There's a great purpose behind it when you look at the total picture of what's going on. And I truly believe like there's a big picture here for him where Florida prepared him for the highs and the lows. It prepared him for success and unsuccess. It prepared him for the moments of how to handle, you know, a loss. The dude got fired after a win, which I still think is like crazy, but I also think it's cool that he can come in confident knowing that like I know how to win, right? It's not about, hey, can this guy do it or not? We found, I believe in our AD, and again, our AD hasn't even been here for a full year, right? And for him to make this type of hire, it's pretty daggone special. And for him to like, you know, he got some time on ESPN this Friday because, you know, some silly students wanted to throw some snowballs on the field, and so man, it's like he's like the AD of the year at this point. He's on a trajectory, right, where he's like, come on.
The snowballs. All right, let's talk about the Sun Belt Championship real quick because I know we got to get out of here. But
are we talking about the snowballs or Sun Belt Championship?
We're going to talk about both because, I mean, I got to go on record, man. I owe Appalachian State an apology because apparently snow in a stadium is just too much for students to resist, man. It's just too much.
My boy.
The temptation is there. So all the Appalachian State Mountaineers from Delvin, Joyce, the people's choice, and I mean this with all sincerity, I apologize. I unfairly judged you last year with the throwing of the snowballs on the field because our fans just could not resist either. That was embarrassing.
That was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. And I appreciate. All I thought about was you.
Now, by the way, no Troy fans were hit by snowballs walking into Bridgeport. That I know. Maybe that happened, but I don't think people were pelting their fans with snowballs as they were walking into the stadium. But I digress.
You know what I love about it, man. I truly love it because I was truly looking for some retaliation from the Troy football players, their staff. I watched the post-game conference and the interview, and they did not make an excuse. They did not even let that even seep into like, yeah, it affected me. Their punter, I mean, dude was just like, hey, I have a job to do, and it doesn't matter, right? That was happening. Didn't mean anything to me. I still got a job to do, and their coach, I mean, I'm sure he was fired up. You can see it, but he didn't use it as an excuse. I thought they would have talked about it more, and they only talked about it for like 30 seconds, and that was like, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, good on Troy, man. I mean, those kids I thought they had a great attitude, and those kids didn't deserve that, man. And you know what? Our student section, there's probably 7 or 8 bad apples out there throwing snowballs. And it just made, 20,000 people in the stadium look bad. And, I was glad that Matt Roan went out and made that statement in his dad voice, right? But, it was unfortunate, man. And it really, I think, took away some of the shine of what happened on the field for both teams. Because I thought this was a great game. What I loved about this game is that it was championship football. Because you can say what you want to say. JMU comes in 11-1, and they're the heavy favorite, 3-touchdown favorite. But Troy's also a proud football program who's won this championship, 2 out of the last 4 years. So the idea that they were going to come in there and roll over, that was championship football, man. So for the score to be 17-14, for most of the game, I didn't have any problem with that, except our offense just kind of looked lackluster. But I had no problem with that because that's what I expected to happen.
Yeah, I expected it as well. It's a championship game on a Friday night. It's cold as all get out, right? And you
Yeah,
were there, right? You were
I
there.
was there.
Oh
My
yeah,
toesies were warm for
man,
Trojan Joe at Troy Boys. Scoreboard
man, God,
Trojan Joe, by the way. Sorry, keep going.
hey, no, God bless you, bro. That looked cold, and like you said, man, this Troy team, they lost to all the losses that they had this year are bowl eligible teams.
Yeah,
They lost to a 7-5 Clemson. They lost to Arkansas State, who's bowl eligible. They lost to ODU, and so they lost to some good programs, and now JMU. And so they were a tough team. They were a tough team with experience and that have been in that position before. Also, you add
yeah,
there were a lot of added because I heard a lot of people say, this JMU team struggled with a Troy team up to the fourth quarter and they don't belong and things of that nature. But people don't, you can't read a you got to actually read the book, right? You got to open it up. You got to know
yeah,
the context of what's going on. And so there was a lot of added layers into this game. There was our head coach. We lost our head coach the same week of the championship game, which could be a big distraction, right? Then you lose your head coach, but then you get big news about, oh, this Florida coach is coming in the night before, the day before, Billy Napier, on a Thursday. You got the snow elements like we talked about. This is our first time
a
playing in the
short
Sun
week.
Belt Championship game. It's short week. Our
Yeah, you
first
got
time playing in this
yeah,
game. The and the possibilities of knowing, hey man, if Duke take care of business, if we take care of business, and then Duke win, hey
yeah,
man, we're going to the playoffs, and then so that's another part, and then I think all of that adds up to kind of add a layer of press, like trying to make the big play, trying to blow this team out because you want to win in sizable fashion because you don't want anybody questioning you. So it makes you stress a little bit more. But also our quarterback. That was the 1 year anniversary of him getting his ACL surgery, December 5th, the same day of the game. So think about that. He got surgery last year on his ACL, that same day
yeah,
fast forward a year forward. I'm pretty sure, just taking into the mindset of a player like that who got injured, myself, I got injured, coming back from that, man, that's hard, right? And that's emotional.
yeah,
And I'm pretty sure before the game, I'm pretty sure he's in his phone looking at the surgery date, looking at, where he was last year. Maybe probably shed some tears, like, man, I can't believe. I believed that I was going to be here, but I can't believe I was going to be here. It took a lot of work to get me here. And he talked about his faith and how much that has meant to him. And so
yeah,
when you add all of those layers and you add all of those emotions, that can lead into like a form of pressure that you're trying
yeah.
so hard to make it happen.
No, that game was ripe for a letdown, right? And first off, shout out to JMU Nation for showing up on a Friday night, a super cold, dark Friday night, and supporting this football team. That was incredible. But also shout out to these players, man, dealing with all these distractions. Your coach, is leaving the program, and you got new coach, and all the things that you just mentioned. They had every reason to be distracted, and they weren't, and they went out and took care of business. So fantastic performance. AB3 didn't have his best game. He could have gotten some help. We had some drops. We had fumbles. We had a lot of things uncharacteristically that we had not seen. Wayne Knight does it again, though, right? And AB3, I think, made the plays that we needed him to make when we needed him to make them. But Wayne Knight also just had the heroics in this game time and time again. And then our guy, Brayton Weslowski, and by the way, he's a junior. He better keep his butt in Harrisonburg, right? But he's a junior, man. This guy has emerged as like our most electric, dynamic receiver that we have on the roster, just making an amazing catch in the back of that end zone.
Yeah, what's your word? Dynamism? What's your word? I
Dynamism.
haven't heard it in a few weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
What's
haven't
your
heard
word,
it in a few
Shepherd?
weeks, but yeah. I mean, at this point, oh, you kind of brought it up earlier. You brought up the David Goliath story, man, and anyway, we won't get into Shepherd,
Yeah.
but no, man, it's to your point. Big time players make big time plays
Yeah.
in big time moments,
That's
right?
it.
And Wislowski certainly did. Wayne Knight, I mean, Sun Belt Conference record for all-purpose yards. Just, all of our touchdowns on offense, Wayne Knight had at least a um a gain of 20 yards. Like I think on the first
Yeah.
one, he obviously ran the 70 yards. On the second one, he had a pass that Alonzo threw it out to him, and he ended up going and 20
Yeah.
plus. And then the last one, he ran another long run to the left side, and then Alonzo scored, I think the next or a few plays later or something like that on the quarterback draw.
Yeah.
So that's you want to know who JMU is? That's who we are, right?
That's who we are.
And we're totally fine with that. We're okay with beating you with 90 passing yards as long as
We
Wayne
had
Knight is
300
touching
rushing
the ball.
yards. Yeah, we had over
Exactly.
300 rushing yards. Now on the defensive side of the ball, it was a totally different story. I mean, I think the defense still dominated this game, held Troy to under 200 yards, which going into this game we knew that would probably be an opportunity for us because this Troy offense had not looked great throughout the season. The defense, I think, is pretty solid. On offense, they have some challenges. Goose Crowder, I think, gave them a really, really good opportunity to win because that guy made some fantastic throws in this football game. I mean, he made some really good decisions, and I think he's a really tough kid because he was getting, blown up in that game. His offensive line didn't do him any favors, right?
I'm so glad you brought him up because I really want to, obviously you went down with an injury. It seems like a severe injury, but man, shout out to Goose Crowder. That dude, every pass, when you go back and look at it, he put on a clinic for pocket movement.
Yeah.
Every time he had to throw, he had to slide left, slide right, and then throw it. But it didn't really affect his ability to get the ball downfield, which, as an NFL, when you're NFL, the next level, you're looking at things like that. How is he in the pocket? Dude was willing to sit there in the pocket and deliver the ball, but he wasn't like he was holding the ball long. He was getting it into his one-on-one matchups. We run a lot of man coverage, right? And so they understood that, hey, take advantage of your man-to-man matchups. And so dude I was very impressed.
So was I,
him.
man.
And that was a gutsy performance, and I wish he could have finished out to the end. I think obviously it favored the Dukes that he couldn't. But shout out to Spinagati. He was the one that kind of put the hit on him, and then he was the one that also picked up the fumble recovery as well. My guy Sahir West, Sunbelt record for tackles lost, Sunbelt Conference record game, and so yeah, man, that dude. I really enjoy watching him play, and you can tell he makes Xavier Holmes better. And it was cool because I kind of seen that, but then he said it in the post conference. They got like a little pack where they I bet I can get to the quarterback, and I believe that Sahir West, especially with Xavier being the older guy. Like that only pumps up and helps his game to be like, man, the young buck getting it, I got to go and get it as well. And so the defense, another great performance, negative yards rushing from Troy, and to keep them under 200 yards total offense is a winning performance, and that's who the Dukes are. And for those who are saying like, oh, for those who have not watched us play, I was not really it was going to be a battle, right? It was going to be a championship battle. But man, our second half adjustments and our second half explosiveness is just unmatched. I mean, I think we have scored 261 points compared to 59 points in the second half.
That's it.
And so we're a second half team.
We're definitely a second half team, man. And, you shouted out Spinagati and Sahir West. I want to shout out Tyler Brown, man. That guy.
Tyler Brown, I knew you was going there.
I don't understand why how he got honorable mention, right, in the Sun Belt honors. Like, I think maybe he was honorable mention because he's an underclassman. He's a true sophomore. And sometimes those awards kind of, are a little more biased towards upperclassmen. That guy is like an All-American, bro. I'm just telling you, man, he's incredible. And again, prayers up for Goose Crowder, man. Hopefully that kid is okay. Because I got a lot of respect for him, his toughness and tenacity in that football game. Just a great overall win for the Dukes, man. I'm not a sentimental guy in a lot of ways. I don't cry at movies, but man, I got a little choked up watching the confetti, man, and watching the team because it was a super proud moment to watch how happy these players are, right? Especially in spite of, what was going down in that locker room that week. So excited about that. All right, I'm going to do a What You Talking About, Willis, real quick.
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis?
It is Skip Bayless, who ironically, Vad, is a Vanderbilt grad, right? So here's what Skip Bayless says. The guy who's never played sports in his life, right? It is ridiculous that JMU and Tulane are in the college football playoffs and Notre Dame and Texas and Vanderbilt are not. This shouldn't be about everybody gets a chance. This should be about the best 12 teams in America. Come on. Wham, wham, wham. Cry me a river, Skip Bayless.
I love your voice.
What you talking about, Willis?
I love your Skip Bayless voice.
Yeah, I'm not going to keep going because I'm not going to give this guy any more airtime. But what are you talking about, Willis? Y'all know my thoughts on JMU and Tulane doesn't belong. I don't need to relitigate that. But, I mean, this guy can kick rocks. You have one, Vad, right?
Well, yeah. Well, one, I was listening to the game on TV, watching it on TV. I forget who the guys are commentating, but I do not like when these guys are, Sahir West is balling out of this world, and they're like, hey, there's a lot of coaches right now that's watching this young man, and just putting it on blast, like trying to take our players. Don't take our players from the ESPN booth. Like, don't take our players from the commentative booth. Don't even give people the idea, the thoughts, right? He's a JMU Duke. Let him be a JMU Duke. And you're not a recruiter. Your job is not to be up there saying that, hey, he should be playing in at Florida or no, he should be playing at James Madison University where he is right now. Let everything else play itself out. Personally, that's a personal decision, right? And so you and I are both commentators and color analysts, and so it's even to myself, there's even to you, like, man, no, this is a big time program as well, and don't get it twisted, like,
I heard
Georgia's. Yeah, I didn't like that.
I don't like that either, man. And I think that was Andre Ware, right? I mean, that's super disrespectful to our program to be doing that in that moment.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hated that.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. What are you talking about, Willis?
Yeah, what are you talking about, Willis? And then your boy, Ryan Clark, 23 hours ago, I just pulled out my phone. All you got to do is pull up X and Twitter or whatever, and you'll see a bunch of JMU stuff now, which is good. All publicity is good publicity, I heard. And
that's right.
Tulane and JMU better ball because ! He didn't even finish. Like, first of all, that's disrespectful, not even finishing your tweet, right? And then what does it mean, Tulane and JMU better ball? Tulane and JMU have been balling all season long. What are you talking about? I don't know. What are you even talking about, Willis, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Are you talking about college football playoffs? Is that what you're talking? I don't know what you're talking about. Tulane and JMU better ball. Have you turn on the tape? They've been balling.
Yeah.
They've been balling.
Well, here's the thing you got to know about Ryan, right? Ryan went to LSU, so he's part of what I think people are now terming the cartel, the P4 cartel, who wants to keep all these players out. But Ryan Clark is one of my best friends, right? His youngest daughter is my goddaughter. He and I were played together in New York with the Giants. And I know what Ryan was trying to say.
I ain't trying to hear that.
I know what he's trying to say. I'm going to give Ryan a little grace because he's my boy.
Nope.
I know what he's trying to say. He's trying to say, you know what? Y'all better go ball. And he's right. Tulane and JMU better ball because I think the whole fate of the entire opportunity for the G5 to play in this tournament year in and year out for the next 10 years comes down to Tulane and James Madison and how we ball. And Ryan's from New Orleans, right? So of course he's going to root for Tulane in this game. And Ryan has been to JMU and played basketball with me at UREC at JMU one offseason when I twisted my ankle and made up a story to the Giants that I fell helping somebody move. Ryan has been to JMU. He knows JMU. He's known it for a while. And so I would tell you he's rooting for JMU against the Ducks.
Well, if he knows JMU, he need to tweet better than that, because he knows that JMU have been balling all year, and the standard is the standard. I don't care who we playing. We talked about it earlier, so I ain't gonna go back. But the standard is the
That's
standard.
right.
Of course, now, hey, Oregon is a power pack. I mean, they're a superpower, right? But we had
Yeah.
superhero day at JMU as well.
Yeah, well, I will pass the message to Ryan. I'm going to text him right now and be like, yo, you were featured in What You Talking About, Willis, on To The House podcast. Pinnacle of his career, by the way.
Let him know.
Mentioned
Let him know, and
to get mentioned on our pod.
That, let him know, bro, and then let him know to bring me on this pod as well, and tell him we can be friends too.
Hey, we can make that happen, man. All right, man. Let's go ahead and take it to the house, man. We had so much to talk about, man. I think we had a lot of great commentary, but listen, all week long we've heard it. JMU doesn't belong in the college football playoff. They're a nice little story. The overachievers who got lucky. That word, though, overachiever. People love to use it as a backhanded compliment. Like they're shocked you've gotten this far. Like you've kind of Forrest Gumped your way to success. But here's the truth. Overachiever means you outworked the blueprint. It means you didn't wait for permission. It means you refused to accept the limitations someone else set for you. That's not an insult. That's actually a badge of honor. JMU has built a legacy on being the underdog. From FCS to FBS transition to this moment right here. Every step has come with doubt. Every milestone has come with someone saying they don't belong. And every time, the Dukes showed up anyway. They showed up and changed the conversation. That's the lesson life teaches you when you're an underdog. You don't need the world to believe in you first. You make them believe after the fact. You don't wait to be included. You force your way into the room. And when you arrive, you show them exactly why the door should have been opened sooner. So here we are, college football playoff. JMU on the biggest stage. We don't know if the Dukes will win. We don't know if the game will be close. But those outcomes don't rewrite the journey. They don't erase the sweat, the work, the earned right to compete. Because belonging isn't defined by the final score. Belonging is defined by the climb, the character, the courage to keep coming when the world says stop. So here's what we're going to do, JMU Nation. We're going to let them talk. We're going to let them doubt. We're going to let them underestimate. But don't be surprised if on December 20th, the Dukes overachieve once again. And that's it, JMU Nation. We have taken it to the house. That I have secured my flight to Eugene, Oregon, but we're going to come back next Monday and preview this matchup against the Ducks. Any parting thoughts you before we get out of here?
Man, go Dukes and go big. I mean, we've been talking about how big this program can get. In fact, when I transferred in 2014, they was talking about this. Like they were talking about, I don't think they were talking about this magnitude, just talking about us going up, right? But now we are here. And, you know, we might have started from the bottom, but now we're here. Ended with some Drake lyrics. Let's go.
Let's go. Go Dukes.
Go Dukes.